Hi, in this video we're going to be showing you how to build this desk. There are two ways to build this desk, however, and we're going to be showing you how to put the desk on the left side. But before we get started, just a couple reminders. Make sure you have a Phillips head screwdriver and optionally a flathead screwdriver. Two people can be helpful in putting this together. And just make sure everything's facing the right way when you're putting it together, and you're going to do great. So let's get into it. Remember, in these tips we won't cover every step, so just make sure you also follow the instructions and do all the steps in between. We're going to be starting with steps 5, 6, and 7, and for this we're going to be using pieces 4, 5, 6, and 2 pieces of 8. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is stand up this long piece in the middle, and you want to make sure that you have this groove on the bottom here. And then on the side, without the cam lock holes in the front, we're going to be attaching one of these pieces, and you want to make sure that you have this rail side facing right up against the piece with the wheel side facing up. All right, and once you have those together, you can go ahead and put in these bolts. And then you want to make sure that you tighten those completely. All right, and once you have those two pieces attached, you can go ahead and put these cam bolts into the front of the piece. All right, once you have those bolts in, you can go ahead and put on the other piece. Now with this one, you want to make sure it's facing the same way as the other one, but this time you're going to have the cam lock holes facing the piece so that it slides on over those bolts. And then you can go ahead and put in your cam locks. All right, once you have all those pieces together, we can go ahead and put on these side pieces. And with these, you just want to make sure that you have the right piece on the right side, and that you have this groove facing down so that it matches up with the groove on this piece here. So we'll go ahead and fit this together. And once again, you just want to make sure that you have the wheels up on every single one of the sliders on this piece. Okay, and once we have those together, we can go ahead and put in the cam locks. Once you have those all tight and this piece is put together, you can go ahead and move on to the next step. In this next step, we're going to be putting together these 3 pieces. So you want to start by grabbing one of these long bars, and you'll want to make sure that you have the cam lock holes facing inwards and not towards the edge of the piece. You also want to make sure you have the unfinished edge facing down with the 3-hole side facing up. So we'll go ahead and fit this onto the dowels. And then you'll do the same thing again with the other one. Once again with the holes facing in and the unfinished edge facing down. And then you can go ahead and put in all your screws. All right, once you have all of those screws in, you're good to move on to the next step. In this next step, we're going to be attaching both of these side pieces here. And so just to start, we did put in all of the dowels ahead of time. And when you put these side pieces on, you want to make sure that you have the longer leg side facing down and the shorter side on the top. You also want to be sure that you have this rounded edge facing so that it's up and facing the front of the piece. So we'll go ahead and fit these two together with the cam bolts and all of the dowels. All right, and once you have that one side on, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. All right, and once you have both of those sides on, we can go ahead and put in all the bolts. Once you have all of those bolts tightened all the way, you can go ahead and put in your cam locks in the bottom of the legs. All right, and once you have everything tightened, you're good to move on to the next step. In this step, we're going to be attaching all of these pieces together. So the first thing you'll want to do is make sure that you have these legs facing the right way so that this little divot matches up with the one on the bottom of the desk here. So we'll go ahead and line these up so the dowels go in the holes, and then we'll do the same thing again on the other side. Then you're going to want to go ahead and take 2 of your bolts and just put one on each side. And you're going to tighten one side completely. Then you're going to want to put the other side in finger tight. That way we can just wiggle this piece so we can get the cross beam in. We're going to go ahead and take the beam and we're going to slide it onto this side. We tightened completely. And then we can go ahead and wiggle this piece to make sure we can slide it onto this one here. And then if this wiggles a little bit, that's okay. We can just reorient it to put our screws in. All right, and once we have all of these pieces sitting together, then we can go ahead and put in all of our bolts, starting with our 4 shortest bolts, 2 on the bottom of each side. All right, and once you have all of those bolts in, you can go ahead and move on to the last step, and then you're done. We hope this video was helpful for you in assembling your new desk. For more guides, tips, and tricks, head on over to walkeredison.com.